I edit my own films because I think I'm very new. I'm still like a very new director, so I need to know, the rewriting during editing. So I would know, what I can do better when I write a story, and when I can do better when I direct my film.
I think the benefits of editing it yourself means that you have a lot of creative control over the tone of the film, because the way you edit the film really impacts the tone.
So you've written it on paper, you've written it in the camera, and now you're writing it in the edit suite.
I think the benefit of working with an editor is that they are not you, which is great because they've got different ideas to you, see things in a different way. And so between the two of you, you can find something new and fresh, a different way to look at what you've spent, hours and days and weeks and months obsessing over.
So yeah, it sort of depends on where your strengths lie. If you feel like editing's not really your strength, then definitely getting someone else to come in who has that skill set can really elevate your film and bring it to the level that you want.
Because when you're editing your own work, it's so easy, and I mean so easy to get attached to how beautiful everything is and how perfect it is, and how when you're on the day of the shoot, the kid was just so cute there on the side and you can't possibly cut out that adorable little face, and the scene absolutely needs to be 15 minutes long. You know what I mean? So an editor will help bring some objectivity when you are inevitably, and I do say inevitably with seriously, when you're inevitably too close to your film.
Yeah, I've started working with editors because I've just realized I'm too much of a perfectionist, and it can also be quite a tormenting process being involved in something, or not involved, but being so close to a project from the pre-production to the very end of it. I just found that kind of grueling after a while, but that's just me.
Stories are rewritten in the edit room because God hates filmmakers.
God damn, man. I've never felt defeated in film school because it's film school, but that first week of editing, that was damn, I really should have became a lawyer. You know what I mean?
You have your vision of the film, you have the film that you watch in your head when you're creating it, and then you have the footage that actually exists that you have to build the film out of. And unless you are a god of filmmaking, there's going to be a discrepancy between those two things.
It can seem like a really scary thing, but it can actually be a really wonderful thing once you get to the edit. And it's not even, you have a shot list and stuff, but sometimes you need to scrap things and let things go and allow new shots to come in there, or new pacing and stuff like that.
Once you get to the edit and play with each of the shots, sometimes you find that the way you originally planned for a scene to play out doesn't always work for the scene.
It's not really about the script at that point, it's about what you actually have and finding the best in that.
You'll play around, you'll put one scene here, then you'll be what if I feel like maybe the scene wants to be somewhere else? Then you put it there and you might be that works. The edit is a place of experimentation and it's really a dialogue between you and the film.
And so sometimes that you've been planning about, we're going to shoot all of these 10 different shots. You end up getting 3 or 4, let's say 5. And then you and the editor in the edit room have to try and figure out how you're going to make that make sense and tell a story. And then it turns out that actually you didn't need the other 5 shots because the edit room is retelling that story by cutting to the essential of what is needed so that the story makes sense and speaks the piece of truth that you want it to. Watching the first cut is probably one of the most terrifying experiences.
Yeah, dread, just utter pain.
Yeah. When you see your first cut, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. You're gonna hate it. prep for that?
Dude, I was like, not that good, man. I was like, damn.
It can be really awful on the first watch through. But it also gives you a good idea of what's working and what isn't. So you will always have to keep cutting down. So your first cut will be very long. And it's just about refining it and refining it and refining it.
What I might classify as a first edit is when I'm like, okay, I'm ready to bring people in and show them this. And I'm open to other opinions and feedback at this point.
I went home, I showed my sister a cut, and damn, she destroyed my film to bits. Like, she annihilated everything, telling how my story sucked ass, how my structure didn't work, and why did I change these certain things, and how I didn't have a lot of faith in my script because I changed the structure of the film.
When I saw Leo in the first cut,
oh man, it was so bad. I was just like, what the fuck have I made? This doesn't work at all.
My composer said the same thing. He was like, Caleb, yo, what the fuck, man? This ain't it. This ain't it. You know how much that hurt? That's my best friend. This ain't it? That killed me, man. That killed me, but I needed that because it was true. I didn't trust the script in the first rough cut because I rearranged it to a place where it felt safe. So I rearranged and cut it, my film again, more aligned with the original, and it was there, you know?
Remember that this idea that you're a sculptor, you're going to start off with this deformed marble block. Just keep chipping away at it. It will be beautiful again. But you're just going to have to trust the process. Just trust that you can do it. And you will be able to. You always do.
so yeah, don't despair. Don't despair. Don't stop. You know, getting to the first cut of the film is like getting to the first cut of the first draft of the script. Just do it. Do it quickly. Get there, because from that point you can improve and you can make the film you really want to make after that.
You know which scenes you have to lose when you really, really, really love them. Because something about killing your darlings is true.
When they're waiting in the house, it's like things are repeating and repeating. When I wrote it, I tried to picture, I think, yeah, that should be fine. It could be, maybe it could be cool. But when I really look at the editing, I think it goes too slow. And my film went a bit too long. It's longer than I thought.
I think, yeah, I usually just start with like, is this informing the story? Is it working?
Does this tell the story in the way it needs to be told, beat by beat by beat by beat?
Because first and foremost, remember that you're making your film for an audience. Yes, it's your baby. Yes, it's your sweetheart. But you're not making it for yourself. You're making it to be shown to a wider audience.
You cut out things that aren't important. Even if it's the shot like that you set up, you got up at 5 a.m. to get that, you know, that burning whatever, birds flying. Cut it. If it's not telling the audience what they need to know, it goes.
I create an alternate sequence that's all my like cutouts or whatever, like all the cutting room floor stuff. So it's like I'm not so much cutting it out as I'm like, I'm just going to move it to this sequence, and at some point it might come back into the film.
You bring in outside opinion. One means nothing. If someone says your whole film is garbage, ignore it. Like, it's just an opinion. But when you have a lot of people coming in and saying, that one scene sticks out, that one scene sticks out, take note.
It's when, I think also when you try so many different ways to get a piece to fit and it never feels quite right, that you sometimes have to consider the idea that it's not necessarily meant to be in there.
We just had kind of people on computers in the film, and then we kind of masked in what was actually happening on the screen. So I just got a friend to do that who is quite well versed in After Effects.
If you find yourself compelled to write stories that have more than reality can offer, don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid of visual effects. It is entirely possible to do VFX on your own or even bring in outside help. My very first film that I made at film school was Sea of Stars. I was convinced that what I needed was a boat to be floating across the sky. What you do, if you find yourself in the situation, don't be freaked out. Just go learn, self-learn, teach yourself things. Things, especially green screen, is a lot easier and a lot more straightforward than it can seem.
the force field around the fairy rings. That needed to be in there. And also just a bit of clean up with the fairy and to make her eyes black, because I didn't want to have to use contacts.
I called in a favour for a special effect, which is the butterfly coming. Oh, it's not a butterfly, it's a moth. And that's the point. That's a very strong story point, that it is a moth coming out of the boy's hand. And in my second year film, I had a bird that flew off a post.
I think my advice is don't do it like after you're shooting or only during editing. It's very important to include this during pre-production.
Because VFX, it's cool.